Just spend a little time clarifying the differences between IDs and classes. By the end of this lecture, you should know when to use an ID and when to use a class. The main thing to remember is with IDs, you could only use a certain ID name once per page. So for example, I couldn't call this div header. It would have to be something like header2. You can have multiple classes with the same name. So for example, I could apply class clear to any other HTML element, and that'd be totally fine. I'll show you the implications of this. If for example, we made this h2 have a class equal to green, and we have this h2 with a class equal to green as well, then if you open style.css, you could write .green, again because it's a class. If it was an ID, and for the CSS you do hashtag and then the ID name, but it's a class, so we'll do .green, and we can set the color to green. Save style.css and make sure index.html saved as well, then refresh your homepage. Now both of the h2s with class green are green. This illustrates why it's helpful to use classes, because now we could apply the same CSS to any HTML element and have that CSS work. Whereas if we used an ID, because you can't reuse the same ID name on the same HTML page, every time we'd want class green, we'd have to write more CSS. Like we've seen with a class, we can now just keep applying that CSS. Now you should see that using classes instead of IDs can save you a lot of time, because you could just keep reusing that style for that class on the same HTML page. I just want to fix this text on the home page. It's a little too close to the image. We'll add some margin to the image. Open style.css and type margin. Let's try 15 pixels. Save style.css, refresh your homepage. Now you can see that the text is further away from the image. By writing the margin this way, just with the 15 pixels, you're adding 15 pixels of margin to all sides of the image. If you only want to put margin on certain sides of the image, all you have to do is write it like this. It works like a clock. The first number is the top margin, the second is the right margin, the third is the bottom margin, and the fourth is the left margin. So margin 0, 15 pixels, 15 pixels 0 will give 15 pixels on the right hand side of the image and 15 pixels of margin on the bottom of the image, and there'll be 0 pixels of margin on the top and left of the image. Padding works the same way as well. Let's see how this works. Save style.css, refresh your page, and there you go. We have 15 pixels of margin on the right and bottom of the image. I liked it how we had it before, so I'll just switch it back. Now you know how to specify the margin and padding that you want.